If you want to smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving, but you're not quite sure how to do it, this is the video for you. Hey guys, I am Steve from Cookout Coach. We're all about trying to help you take your barbecue to the next level no matter what you need. Today what we're going to be talking about is how to smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving. While being responsible for the main protein at a family get-together or a friendly party can seem like a big responsibility and you're not sure if you can handle it, when it comes to poultry on the smoker, it can be tricky, but it's also very easy to turn out a fantastic product. The recipe I've got for you today is actually a competition-inspired recipe. Our KCBS competition team, DQ'd Barbecue, traditionally does pretty well when it comes to the chicken category, so I wanted to take some of those tactics I use in competition and apply them to this holiday turkey to make the most moist, flavorful turkey that you've had. Enough hype, let's get into the recipe. So to begin with, we're going to select our turkey. Now, this bird is right at 14 pounds, and I honestly wouldn't want to go any bigger. Preferably 12 to 14, you're going to be in the money there. There are several reasons for selecting that size of bird, and if you need more than that, cook 2 birds. The big reason today, though, is because a 14-pound bird just fits in a half-size cooking foil pan. And in the competition world, I tell people all the time, I live and die by foil pans. Essentially, this cook breaks down into 4 major components: cooker and smoke, rub seasonings, injection, and butter bath. Let's get the first one out of the way. We're going to be throwing this down on the Char Griller Akorn. I absolutely love this cooker when it comes to cooking birds. We're going to fire our acorn up and let it come up to 300 degrees to start off with. For smoke, we're going to use these Cleveland Whiskey Company smoker bricks. These are little cubes of black cherry that have been soaking in their bourbon. They smell fantastic. I just love standing around the pit when I've got these on there. So we're going to use these today. They're going to give us a nice, subtle smoke and smell fantastic the whole time. We'll get our coals on the grill, put a deflector plate in, and just let it come up. We bought this bird froze, and we gave it a full week in the refrigerator to thaw. Now once it's thawed, we need to get it out of its packaging, pull the neck and giblets out. Now one of the major things that I pay a lot of attention to in competition is how things look. With this being the centerpiece of your Thanksgiving, you want it to be beautiful. So let's go ahead, any weird parts that look out of place, the bottom of the breast, just cut them off. Up at the top where the neck is, I want to cut that skin back to where it's even with the breast muscles. We do that for 2 reasons. One is for appearance. The other is I do want air to travel through this bird to help cook from both sides so that we don't have one side of the breast that's done and one side that's not. After the bird is cleaned up and looking nice, we're going to go ahead and mix our injection. Now what I'm going to use today is Tony Chachere's Creole butter. Competition flair comes in, we're going to add 1/8 cup of Kosmo's Q Moisture Magic to this. Now when you're adding Moisture Magic to something, you need to add it in slowly and constantly stir your mixture as it's being added. Otherwise it will rock up and you will not get any of the benefits. If you do get a few little rocks of Moisture Magic in there, don't worry about it. You know, they can't all be winners. Just keep going with it. Add it slowly, keep stirring. Once that's incorporated though, we're just going to go ahead and take our injector and puff this bird as full of this Creole butter as we can. That's one great thing about injection is you really can't over inject something. It'll only take so much. Now make sure you reserve just enough to coat the bottom of a foil pan of your injection because we'll need that later. Go ahead and rub the injection that's on top of the bird all over the skin. It's going to be our binder, and what we're going to use today for our seasoning is Char Griller's Chicken rub. This is a pure savory rub that uses a lot of notes that go great with chicken. It doesn't have any sugar, so we don't have to worry about it burning on the skin. It's really one of my favorites. Now when you think you're done putting seasoning on it, step back and look and make sure everything looks symmetrical. That's one way we score so high in appearance in competitions, is we make sure our rub layer is extremely even. I like to give it at least a half an hour in the fridge to set up after we've injected it, but you could go on right now if you want to. Now when you're ready to go on, we'll set the bird aside and we'll get our foil pan ready. What I've got is a full block of Kerrygold Irish butter that I'm going to cut into roughly 1/4 inch strips. Now I want to line the bottom of my foil pan with all these strips. And lastly, we're going to pour in that last little bit of injection into our pan to coat the bottom of the pan so that nothing can burn on it. Our main concern with this turkey, or any poultry at all really, is the white meat. We don't want to dry that out before we get our dark meat done. So when we put our bird in this foil pan, we want to go breast side down, right on top of that butter, right on top of that injection. This will do 2 things for us while we start our cook. The first is it'll keep that breast meat moist and just cooking in that butter. It's going to help it a lot. The second is that butter and injection is still cold. So while the thighs and legs of the dark meat are up catching normal air heating up, our breast meat has to wait for that butter to melt and warm up first. So it's stalling that breast out a little bit while we give our dark meat a little time to get a head start. With our bird breast side down in our pan, just go ahead and coat the back side of the bird with our rub, and we're ready to go on this cooker. Half an hour in, we're going to do another competition trick, and that is I'm going to get some spray parquet butter and just spray the back of this chicken a little bit. It's going to help with the skin. It's essentially like putting on cooking oil, helping that skin brown up and cook, except for this is soybean oil and it happens to be butter flavored. I think that works well with turkey. 45 minutes into the cook, all of our butter has melted and we now have a good bit of liquid in our pan. We want to make sure the skin on top of the breast looks great, so we're going to go ahead and flip our turkey at this point. Don't be alarmed at how the skin looks. All you need to do is reseason. Close your lid and let the natural cooking processes take over. One more time, about a half an hour after this, I'm going to open it up and I want to spray all the exposed skin with that parquet spray butter. Not a lot, just enough to get it coated. Also, when we flip the bird over in the pan, I want to go ahead and crank the temp of this acorn up to 350. Again, that's another super benefit of running this Kamado. It can crank that temp up like no problem. It's going to help to catch this skin back up some. That's it. Stick a probe in the breast and wait for it to hit 165 now. Once it does, we've got a beautiful bird. Remove your turkey from your pan of liquid and set it back on the grill for 3 minutes. I just want to dry the bottom of this turkey off. It's something I do in competition all the time. It really helps with the appearance of things and the final product of the skin. That's all there is to it. Nothing left to do now but remove the breast from this turkey, slice it up, give it a taste. So this is our bite from our competition-inspired turkey. I gotta tell you, I've got high hopes for this because we score pretty well when it comes to the chicken category, so I hope this did what I think it did. That bird didn't disappoint. That came out super tender, super juicy, just like I expected. I'm not a big turkey guy, to be honest with you, but that came out spot on. And the way that we sliced it against the grain on the breast as opposed to with the grain like traditionally you see, that just helped with the bite that much more. Just because this was competition-inspired turkey, don't let that scare you away. This recipe was super simple. There really wasn't much to it. There wasn't a whole lot of prep to it. Just a few real common practices I use in competition to keep this bird moist and juicy and delicious. We used that Tony Chachere's Creole butter injection and some Kosmo's phosphates to really shove some flavor and moisture retention deep down into every part of this bird. We started it out breast down in a butter bath to do two things: keep that breast in a moist environment with plenty of butter, but also that cold butter kept them slow and let the thighs and legs, the dark meat, accelerate, because that dark meat gets a little bit better at a higher temperature in my opinion. Halfway through, once our butter got hot, we flipped it over so our breast was up and our thighs and legs were now in the butter, essentially deep frying them. It's going to accelerate them even that much further. Then we occasionally sprayed with a little bit of parquet to keep the skin nice and moist. I give this turkey an A+, and you should absolutely give it a shot. But if you want to go with a little bit more of a traditional smoked turkey, why don't you meet me over in this video and we'll get you sorted.